Hello, friends, and welcome to another Origins of Expressions. Today, we'll be going over the phrases from soup to nuts, hard nut to crack, all in a nutshell. What do they all have in common? They're all phrases and idioms around nuts. Let's get cracking and start this video. The nut, the small protein-packed snack that has been around for what seems to be forever. There has been evidence found buried deep in an archaeological bog that shows that nuts have formed a major part of the human's diet for over 780,000 years. Along with the 7 varieties of nuts that were found, there were also stone tools to crack open the nuts. Because nuts generally have a high oil content, they are a highly prized food and energy source. They are a good source of fat, fiber, and protein. From prehistoric man to ancient royalty to medieval peasants to supermarket shoppers of today, nuts have been a reliable food source throughout history. So, since nuts have been around for a while, you know that they have popped up in our language as idioms and phrases too. Today, we'll go over 3 expressions around nuts. Let's go ahead and crack open our first phrase. From soup to nuts. From soup to nuts means from beginning to end, start to finish. From soup to nuts started as a literal meaning. This phrase was meant to be all of the successive parts of a meal, from soup at the beginning to nuts and fruit at the end. An example from the Charleston Daily Courier in 1870 reads, "We have lately had the pleasure and privilege, along with a friend, of a dinner at the Charleston Hotel, as an invited guest. The bill of fare, from soup to nuts and fruit." We've changed the meaning of soup to nuts from the literal sense of a full meal to anything that explains a process from beginning to end. The earliest occurrence that I have found of the phrase is from A Flying Shot at the United States by Fitzgunn, published in the Dublin University magazine in 1852. It reads, "I have heard of a boast being made by a veteran in the art that he could get from soup to nuts in 10 minutes." Today, we still hear the phrase from soup to nuts. However, it's not as popular as it once was. An example sentence is, "Okay, let's go over the agenda again. From soup to nuts." Well, they have a lot to do. Let's let them get back to work and we can move on over to our next phrase. Hard nut to crack. Hard nut to crack means a person, thing, situation, or problem that is particularly difficult to understand or solve or even deal with. That's a hard nut to crack. This expression alludes to hard-shelled nuts like walnuts. Without the help of some outside force like a tool or your foot, the nutshell can be hard to break with your bare hands. So we can use this struggle to express other situations that also seem tough. A hard nut to crack was first used by Benjamin Franklin in a letter to his brother about a few colonists in the U.S. who were trying to attain a French fortress somewhere in Canada in 1745. It reads, "Fortified towns are hard nuts to crack. Your teeth have not been accustomed to it." Today we still use hard nut to crack to explain a hard or complicated situation, or even a person that you are having a hard time getting to know. An example sentence is, "I've been dating Jenny for over a year, and I still think she's a hard nut to crack." Well, looks like they're having a good time. Let's leave and head over to the next idiom so they can keep talking. All in a nutshell. All in a nutshell means something that is brief or to the point, in a few words. This phrase has not changed as it has moved through our history. The saying has kept the same meaning. It started a long time ago as anything that could be written in so few words that it could fit into a nutshell. And of course, since the nutshell is so small, it would have to be brief and to the point. Usage of the phrase in a nutshell was first seen around the year 77 in the work Natural History by Pliny the Elder. It read, Cicero hath recorded that the poem of Homer called Iliad, written on parchment, was enclosed within a nutshell. In this instant, the phrase within the nutshell was used to illustrate something that literally happened. The poem was translated into English in 1601 by Philemon Holland and is about 700 pages long. So he wrote really small to fit that whole poem into a nutshell. This incident started the use of the phrase we know today, and by the 1800s, the idiom in a nutshell was in general use to explain a shortened version of a story or event. Today, we still use the term in a nutshell to explain something compact, a shortened version. An example sentence is, we have a big problem, but in a nutshell, we have to be out of this office by next Friday. Well, let's not get in their way. They have a lot of work to do. Let's leave them as we move on. Ooh, fun fact. Did you know that peanuts aren't technically nuts? Yep, that's right. They're actually legumes. Unlike nuts that grow on trees, peanuts grow underground. Despite this little fact, peanuts are still considered the most popular nut. They account for 2/3 of all nut consumption. The average American eats more than 6 pounds of peanuts and peanut butter products every year. Americans simply can't get enough peanuts. On the other side of the pond, however, the average European eats less than 1 tablespoon of peanut butter a year. It looks like Americans hold the record for biggest peanut butter lovers, and this is no surprise since peanuts are a great source of protein and contain tons of healthy nutrients, dietary minerals like magnesium, manganese, and phosphorus, plus they are filled with antioxidants, dietary fibers, and vitamin B and E. And the last little fun fact, peanuts have been long called goobers as a sort of nickname. Where does it come from, you might ask? It comes from the word Nguba, which is the word for peanuts in the Congo. Well, that's the information that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed learning about the origins of our idioms and phrases. I would love to have you subscribe if you did. It's easier than cracking open a nut with your bare hands. You just have to hit the subscribe button. It's quick and easy, and I would really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Quick question before you go. Do you know any idioms or phrases around nuts? Maybe you know other idioms or phrases on an entirely different subject. I'd love to see them. Leave them in the comments below. And if I use the phrase, I'll give you a shout out. Thank you again for watching and subscribing. I really appreciate your support. Until next time, bye.